Hey, it's me, GV, and welcome to the Morning Star Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. This is episode 5. We have none other than Matt Zion from WrecklessEating. How you doing, Matt?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So we have a tradition on this podcast, which will probably change shortly because I realize there's an inherent flaw in said tradition, because I ask the guests, and I've asked the previous guests, one of two questions that they get to choose, and I feel like those answers are going to start becoming amalgamated eventually, so I'm probably going to switch them up pretty soon, but I still think they're fresh for a little bit. So would you like to answer the snail or the book question?
Let's answer the snail.
Okay, nice, because I think the last two guests in a row have answered the book question. Okay, so the snail question is, would you take immortality and also $10 million, but also a snail would also get immortality and $10 million, but it's a snail, so the millions of dollars just kind of fall on it and doesn't really do anything with it. Now, if that snail, so you can't die, there's like some ground rules, but we can get into it later. You can't die through like any means other than this snail touching you. If the snail touches you, you die, and immediately upon you getting this power and the snail getting this power, it immediately starts hunting you, and it's always aware of your location. But other than that, it's pretty much a normal snail, except it has like some sort of like acid or like sort of secretion, when it moves around. And I'd say that it could also shoot it like maybe like a foot in front of it, like expel it as some sort of defense mechanism. So the question is, would you take the immortality and the money?
Yeah, I mean, why? It's just a fucking snail, man. Like, especially if you get all that money, you can essentially, because if you're immortal, you'll have to watch out for yourself for the first, I don't know, like couple years or so. But like, you have the 10 million, you start to turn that money into more money, dude. One day, just make a product that'll make the snails go extinct, and then that way, when you see that one snail, because obviously he'll live. Well, you see it. You ever see a snail, then you run, because that's the only one that's left.
Interesting. Okay. So you'd find a way to eradicate like what, every single type of snail other than this one snail?
Yeah, or this dude could just move somewhere where there aren't snails, and then that way, if he sees one, he knows what's up.
But the question is, like, what if it, by the time it finally because it's always hunting you and it can't die. So even like 30 years in the future, it's still coming after you. What if you're sleeping by the time it finally, you've settled in, you think you're safe, and then boom, it finally gets to you.
This is similar to what was that one movie where they were passing the demon around through like boning and stuff?
Passing the demon around through boning?
Yeah. So I can't remember what it was called. It was one where if this guy sleeps with a girl, and then all of a sudden she's being chased 24/7 like by a slow walk, but it's from this like demon. And then so this girl sleeps with somebody else, and she can pass it on to them. But it's basically like an STD demon.
Wow.
It's a very popular movie. It's completely escaped me, but it's the same way I would have dealt with that situation. So this demon's following you around all the time, but it doesn't run. It just walks very slowly towards you. But if it gets a hold of you, you're dead. Okay. So I was like, why don't these people just basically like once a week just take a drive and like live in 2 locations? So you have 2 houses, 2 apartments, one in New York, one in California.
Yeah.
You calculate how long does it take for this thing to walk towards me, and then you just say, okay, well, it's almost here, and then you just drive to your other location and live your life over there.
That's a great idea. The one thing, though, is that you don't know where the snail is. The snail is aware of you, so you don't know where. It could be like a foot away from you when it starts. Obviously, that's unlikely.
But... I can give you a solution to that, though. Okay. So the very first time that the snail's going to come, you're aware the snail exists. You know the deal. I say... Right. You take 6 months, you just go, you sit inside of a warehouse with many openings, and then during, say, like at night, you take shifts in sleeping. So it's not going to be great sleep, but at least you'll always be aware. The first time you ever see the snail, calculate it, write it down, figure it out.
Okay. Yeah, that would work. Another thing that I think would be good is to hire like a group of bodyguards basically that are keeping watch.
Snail guards.
Yeah, snail guards. Yeah.
Once you get rich enough, you just have a system that'll be in place, like motion sensors and all kinds of stuff.
Exactly. The money, $10 million is not as much this day and age. I guess 10 million could last you till you die, though, right? But,
well, I mean, if you're immortal, though, there's so many ways that you could make money.
Exactly.
Like stunts and just I mean, you could be a really famous actor. You know, it's all kinds of things.
What if you're just a really shitty, dumb person and you waste it? Like you buy all fancy things and then now you don't have that money and you really don't have any means of tracking where the snail is, nor do you have the money to like travel across the country to get away from it. Then you kind of deserve it.
I mean, the people that say yes to this, there's only two kinds. There's the absolute idiots go, what's a snail gonna do? You know, like, and then there's people like us that are trying to think of it kind of mathematically and logically, and so I mean, I'm sure there's a bunch that would take it.
Yeah, I think saying yes is the right answer. Usually with this, you know, these philosophical questions, there's not really a right or wrong, but I mean, you would have to prepare, obviously, and I don't know. I guess the really interesting part of this question, the only reason it's a question is just that no matter what you do to prepare for this snail, it's just there's always the thing at the back of your head, at least to me, knowing that this snail is like hunting you and it's like unsettling, even on the, you know, on the lowest level.
Well, I mean, look at rich people though. Like, what's one of the biggest complaints rich people have is that they have so much money that there's always a target on their back. Like, there's always somebody coming after them for a scam or potentially kidnap or whatever. So I mean, like, rich people deal with that all the time. It's just instead of a snail, it's, you know, every single person that walks by them could be the enemy.
That's true. Yeah, that ties in with the bodyguard thing, because even if you have a retinue of guards around you always looking for the snail, what if they get paid off? Like, what if someone knows the snail's coming for you and then like pays them to look the other way or bring the snail to you? Like, there's just always...
kept it simple. We kept it simple.
Yeah. Alrighty, cool. Okay, so yeah, I think I've only asked one guest previously about the snail question, and it was like a group of 3 guys called Fudge Muppet, and they all agree that they would take it. And I think pretty much 90% of people would take it. I mean, there's so many things that you could do to stop it. So, alrighty, so for anyone that doesn't know, you are Matt Zion of Reckless Eating, and Reckless Eating is a channel that has been on YouTube for how long now?
7 years.
7 years, and I would say, I mean, honestly, out of all the food channels, like related to food, there's different, you know, genres and stuff, obviously. But I think I'm not just saying this to you know, to pump you up or anything, but I feel like Reckless Eating is one of, if not the most known out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only person that might be, well, no, I'd say like the competitive eaters is different, because
yeah,
LA Beast, well, I guess LA Beast would fall under our category a little more, but he's kind of a combo. But like, you know, overall, LA Beast, Furious Pete, Matt Stoney are just always going to be known more.
Yeah,
and like Dame Drops is a little bit too, but that's just because, you know, Dame Drops, it has more of a, more people know about him because of his TV appearances and stuff.
Yeah, but I don't lump you in with those guys, because yeah, Matt Stoney and LA Beast, they've got like their whole, like, I guess business plan is centered on like virality, like just the names of what they do and everything. It's so eye-catching and people want to click it and all that stuff, and they do pretty much, I mean, I don't think they branch out too much, but you guys have like so many different shows and different things that you guys do. I don't even know what I would classify your channel as opposed to like other food channels, because like Dame Drops is, you know, pretty standard, like fast food reviewer, the most known, I'd say, right?
Yeah, I'd say like you classify us. I mean, I've had a lot of people complain about it too, but I just prefer it to run it this way. Have like different segments or different shows within the channel instead of just having like one focus. Yeah. So we do like a lot of like little food reviews and stuff, but classification is weird, because like more than half of our content is just food reviews. But then you have, you know, that 30% on the back end that's, you know, obviously we kind of glorified the vomit alert and the gross stuff. A lot of it comes from us. Right.
So for anyone that's not familiar with your channel, like, how would you describe it? How would you describe the channel as a whole?
Yeah, like, I mean, it's pretty common when people say it's like Jackass combined with Man vs. Food, or you know, just regular food reviews and whatnot. I mean, like, every time that I hand out my card, because every once in a while somebody will notice my shirt and be like, I want it. Well, what is that? And I'll tell them, and then I'll give my card, and I'm like, hey, you can't have a faint of heart stomach to go into this, because you know, most of our content is pretty normal, run-of-the-mill stuff. But I think one of the reasons why we've lasted so long and why we're probably one of the more known food review channel type things is because we're it's just talking like you and me talking right now. It's just normal us. Like, that's just how, when the cameras aren't on, that's how we're talking and reacting to one another. Of course, like, kicked up a little bit, but it's this general idea.
Yeah, and I think that's why I like it. You know, no offense to the other guys, obviously. They've got their audience, but that's why I think I like your channel the most because yeah, it's just you've got this whole like cast of characters and you can tell that you're not really trying to like overtly make the video, you know, like, okay guys, everybody gear up, we're trying to make this video like a high production type thing and we got to really, you know, market this thing out there. But it's like
we were told early on that we should have made, like 5 years ago, that we should have made it more like a TV show and kind of cut out the cussing, cut out the vomit, cut out just kind of like, because I prefer just one single shot. I know so many channels like to do multiple angles, and good for them, it looks awesome, but I feel like that takes away from the fact that it makes them more of a like a corporate product, because it's something you would see on TV. Whereas I think our entire appeal is that all of us grew up together. Like most of us have been friends for a long time, and it should show in the videos. So I don't know. It's a weird dynamic.
It absolutely does. Yeah. Yeah, I know this is such a standard question, but I've actually, because I don't know, I've been watching you guys for, I think before, God, I always forget how long I've been doing YouTube, but it's been like 4 or 5 years. So I feel like even before I tried it, I think I was watching your channel, because I know, man, I just saw some really, really, really old videos. So I know this is such a standard question, but like, how did it start? How did your channel start?
Oh, it's all good. I appreciate, by the way, you watching that and whatnot. I've been watching your content now too, so
hell yeah,
good stuff. So basically, I was working for Verizon. They let me go. They fired my ass because I pissed off some of the management. So I was basically like looking for a job but not really finding anything solid. So I was, getting that old government money. Hey, Ziegler, I'm trying to tell a story. Sorry, it's a cat.
He's a cat. What's the cat's name?
Ziegler.
Oh, after the wrestling guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, I had a lot of time, and I was getting paid about what I was getting paid for Verizon, which is like the first year of being on unemployment and stuff. And so I was like, I have the time, let's do this. And I wanted to come up with an idea that would highlight our personalities, because we had been doing the backyard wrestling stuff for over 10 years prior to that. So all of us already had a good friendship and knew each other. And I was like, well, I like eating, and I'm like, I'm willing to try gross things. I'm very picky eater.
Really?
I've grown out of it a little bit, but when we started the show, the idea was I would be the straight guy, the picky eater, the one that everybody would hate, and then Chris would be the one that would try anything, because he really is
surprising.
In real life. That's the way it was supposed to be. And the first two main shows, actually, like, I had forgotten about this for years, and then Tom, old man Tom, my gaming channel partner, and then also in Reckless Eating, he's like, do you guys remember the first 2 episodes you did? You and Chris had a theme for the main show where I would bring 2 items and he would bring 2 items, and we'd have to try them. But we dropped that shit after the 3rd episode for some reason, and it just became gross food. But
that's crazy. I would have never thought, because like I don't know, maybe I'm just an idiot, but I never picked up on the fact that you were picky, because I mean, yeah, so the next question was going to be like, you have like this giant cast of characters on Reckless Eating. Like how many people have been involved with like your videos? Because you have those little cutouts that you use in a lot of the like the intros and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, most of them were the people that were in that backyard wrestling thing.
Right.
We all did that. You can look it up. It's called New Omega Wrestling. I don't know why you would, but some of the stuff was okay towards the end. Fun fact, we got to do a Bob Saget show. He had like some little thing that failed. It was only 1 season, but we did like a Bob Saget show appearance.
No
and
way.
If it had gone to season 2, I was going to contact the producers and be like, hey, we went from backyard wrestling to eating gross food, but he never got picked up again. So
wait, what was that show called?
Strange Days with Bob Saget.
Holy crap. Oh man, this is so odd, because like, yeah, seriously, whenever I'm just, browsing through YouTube, I do watch a lot of y'all's stuff. I have like forever. And yeah, first of all, I never knew you were picky, and second of all, I had no idea that you were on some sort of pilot season for a Bob Saget show.
Well, ours was the highlight too. They only gave him like, I think it was like 8 episodes or something. And I remember one of the other episodes was kind of interesting. He followed like the hardcore bikers gangs scene or whatever. But pretty much like that wrestling thing was real interesting, because I had to actually like not audition, but I had to send in like a written letter telling them like why we should get it. And I guess like they were looking for a backyard fed an indie fed, and then they were using Dragon's Gate. So that was supposed to be like, you've made it, which totally isn't the case, but that's because WWE apparently turned him down. But we got it though, and so they came out to film and stuff, and it was a really weird experience, but like in a good way, because I'd never been into anything quite like that before. And then meeting Bob Saget, he was super funny. So, where was I getting at? I totally just lost train of thought. You got to bring me back.
I was curious about like what the whole experience was like, because you said it was really weird, and I was going to ask you, did you meet Bob Saget?
Yeah. I mean, I was the focal point of the episode for my section. So they were basically we were the backyard segment, and then they used some local Los Angeles promotion. I don't know what it was, but for the indie, and then like I said Dragon's Gate. But out of that whole thing, ours was easily the only thing that was interesting. And I'm not saying that because I'm like tugging my own dick over here. No, but like it was I think it's more interesting to see guys who aren't getting paid and kind of like imitating something rather than just going and watching the actual product. But yeah, we met Bob. Bob Saget was super cool. Like I said, he was he came in, and the segment was him interviewing me and my parents about it and stuff. So I was just, it was fine. I really I liked it overall. It's cool that I got to be on like TV before Reckless Eating, because it made me realize that I don't really care about TV. We've gotten offers since then from specifically the most funny one was from Cops had their like, I think it was the 10th anniversary or something like that, some special. It might be more than that. It might be more than 10. But whatever it is, they offered for us to come on, and they wanted us to get stun gunned.
For any particular reason, you guys? They just saw your videos?
They reached out to us and Blumgum because they needed two people to get stun gunned and also tasered and pepper sprayed all at the same time. Like, I don't know if stun gun and taser is the same thing, but and we're asked. They were like, okay, we're gonna pay you. I think it was like $80 per person. And then we were like, Chris made a really good point. Chris was like, he wanted to do it, but he's like, but what happens if we get hurt? Like, who pays the medical bills? And they're like, oh, we're only covering $80.
Oh God. That's so.
But what my point was is that doing the Bob Saget show and kind of being on a TV show, even if it was just for one episode of something, made me not care anymore. So like when Cops came to us and essentially asked us to be destroyed on live TV, and we weren't going to be allowed to shout out that we were from Reckless Eating. They were supposed to pretend like they were plants in the crowd.
Oh hell no!
But for like we weren't going to put up with their shit. That's essentially what Bob Saget's experience gave me, because I got it once and I didn't really have the fever anymore.
Yeah, I think I would feel the same exactly. I can't believe they wouldn't cover cover any liabilities if you guys got hurt.
Yeah, what the hell? Blumgum was the one that was like, oh hell no.
I mean, maybe I'd probably do it if it doesn't really matter about the money, but just to be on TV for a split second. I have no experience with TV at all. I don't know why. I don't know why anybody would be interested. I just make Let's Plays, but yeah, they'd have to definitely cover the liability at least. Jesus.
Very least. Like, I wouldn't even cared about the $80, just as long as they were going to take care of
exactly
Chris and Blum. But like, no way. And that thing never even aired. They never even did it. So I guess they never got off the ground.
Okay. Yeah. So like, how many people are like affiliated with the show? Like, is there a main cast? Is there like a extended cast? Do some people just come on when they want to?
We use wrestling terms, so sorry to anybody who doesn't watch wrestling, but basically like WWE, Raw, and SmackDown, they call them the main roster. So the main roster would be like myself, Chris, Gamer Nick, Chuck Rowland, old man Tom, kind of, but he doesn't show up all the time. But like the guys you see all the time. Then we call the NXT, which would be like the developmental guys. So
right.
The middle crew of people like Hobo Brown, Natter, Justin, A-Rock, the people that only show up, every once in a while whenever they can.
Okay.
And then you've got your the people that we wish the future endeavors to, so they're on the indie scene. But yeah, I mean, in total, on a rotating door of solid people that are on all the time, probably like 6 or 7, but we have like 20 people that appear miscellaneously.
Okay. Yeah. See, like you're talking about people giving you advice throughout your, YouTube history, but I disagree with it, because your channel is like truly unique. And again, I'm not just saying that to make you feel good or anything. Like your channel, especially the characters and everything, and I don't know, just all the different shows that you guys have. Yeah, I really like it. I disagree that you should ever do like, make it more production, make it have more production value or anything like that, because I think that is completely not what you guys are all about, you know?
Yeah, it's sad that YouTube is moving away from shows like ours, you know, shows
And
where
mine.
yeah, well, yeah, because they want to focus on more corporate friendly channels, and they want more of a corporate look. And so it's too bad that the era of just picking up a camera and, you know, doing something and having people enjoy it is probably not. I don't think it's coming to an end, but I think it's definitely its heyday is past.
Oh, absolutely.
You're just not going to be able to compete with the professional shows that they're putting onto the YouTube platform now.
No, not at all. Plus YouTube Red and their actual, like, you know, produced shows in-house and stuff.
Yeah, but you notice they actually, like, the first set of series that they did for YouTube Red, they basically called it season 1, which was like year 1. But there were a lot of YouTubers in that. A ton of YouTubers.
PewDiePie had his show.
Yeah, now they're promoting the next couple of one, and like they're taking the YouTubers straight out. They're like, oh no, nobody want that. From what I've heard, because again, we have friends of friends that work at YouTube, and from what I've heard through the grapevine is they essentially, because YouTube Red did really bad, like it was well below their expectations. They basically corporate blamed it on the YouTubers not being appealing enough, so that's why they were gonna have to make their own shows and try to get celebrities in.
Okay, no, it's because you're trying to create like a paid platform for something that's been free for so long.
Yeah, like a Netflix.
And for YouTubers, like, I mean, YouTubers are great, but I don't know. Did you see that one show I watched? They gave the first episode out for free, but it had like the girl from Orange Is the New Black, Poussey, and it had like this one guy that always plays like douchebag characters and everything. Did you see that?
No, I've only watched like a 1 or 2, because they give away the first episode always for free.
Right.
I know I watched Rhett and Link's first YouTube Red thing, and it's just all the problem with YouTube Red is that I stopped watching TV because I hate TV, and now YouTube, which I love, YouTube's probably easily my favorite platform for entertainment, is now like telling me, oh no, you didn't like that. No, you like what was on that crap that was on TV.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly it. Because that show that I'm talking about, it has no YouTubers in it. It's like a fully produced. It was like a buddy cop like comedy thing, and it was just, man, it was awful. I sat through it. It was the most like.
They're all awful. I haven't heard. Every time I talk to somebody about this, I don't know anybody that enjoys any of these shows that they're making.
No, I have never heard anyone ever bring up a YouTube Red program in a conversation, and that's not to shit on it. If I don't know, if they put effort into it, if it was actually unique, that'd be fine. Like people give PewDiePie shit and they say that he appeals to younger kids, and that's partly true, but he's also evolved over the years, and I watch his content every now and then, and it's still not for me. I think I am a little bit too old for that type of humor, but I think he does put a lot of effort into his videos, and I think he is like inherently funny. But he made a YouTube Red, I guess it was year 1, like you were talking about, because I think it was right when YouTube Red was such a thing. Yeah, scare PewDiePie.
There you go.
Yeah, and I watched it, and it just was like they took what was like magical about him and why he's the most successful YouTuber of all time, and they ran it through like the corporate like machine man and like just watered it down. It wasn't necessarily watered down. It was just like the fact that they added in production to it and like these fake characters that were trying to like acting like they're gonna pull one over on PewDiePie. Like he doesn't know the whole fucking step of the process. Like the whole thing was like, oh, we're gonna send him through this insane asylum and he's gonna be so scared, but he knows what's gonna happen. They're not, or maybe he does. I don't know, but
I mean, like, how is he supposed to react? Because he knows he's on a show where they're trying to scare him, so you're not really gonna get like the most fair reactions. PewDiePie, by the way, I wanted to say real quick.
Yeah.
I actually respect the fact that he, for the most part, stopped doing Let's Plays, because like he could have done that for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
And people would watch and he'd make money. I mean, he's easily one of the top grossing YouTubers, but he made a choice. He was bored with it, and so he still plays some games, certain things that he likes. But for the most part, he's more of a vlog channel now. And
yeah.
Every time that YouTube has started to do something stupid, he's one of the first ones to always pop up and defend the community and tell YouTube that they're full of shit, which is why they barely promote him ever anymore. But yeah, his content, I actually think it's gotten severely better since he went away from the gameplay. The gameplay kind of felt, it felt like it was more of a kid-friendly thing. But he's I respect him quite a bit. I'm actually a big fan of his.
I totally agree. Yeah, I didn't get into him. I mean, I watched him way back at the start when he was starting to like get his upswing, and I just remember seeing a few series here and there, and they were all Let's Play like horror type stuff, and it was you know, it was funny, but I never got into him too big until recently when he switched. I don't know when he switched over to that vlog style content, but he does these like, you know, 10-minute. Just himself in front of a camera kind of making jokes about whatever's going on, and like I enjoy that so much more, and I also admire him for calling YouTube out on their bullshit, just like I think the other big proponent of that is Ethan from H3H3.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad that there are people like that have a lot of clout that are calling them on that shit, because I know you feel this way too, and I know you guys got hit mega hard with demonetization, and yeah, it's just felt to me like ever since the demonetization thing first struck, like they're trying to destroy themselves from the inside out.
Well, I think the major issue is they being the corporate YouTube heads. I think that they are ashamed of what they have, of what YouTube is. So that's why the goal is to turn it into a more respectable corporate Netflix style service. But the problem, of course, is that we already have a Netflix, and Netflix is pretty sweet. It's pretty great. But the reason why YouTube is so much more special to me personally isn't just because I make my living from it. But when you watch YouTube shows, you gain such, you almost feel like you're watching someone who's a friend. Mm-hmm. Like, I've never talked to this person before, but I feel like we're friends. Whereas I watch Netflix and I'm like, that was just a pretty awesome show. It's a completely different platform. And the fact that they continue to ignore like what makes YouTube so much fun is the U factor, but they seem to think that it's just tube. I hate them. I don't know. I was trying to give the YouTube corporate people the benefit of the doubt for the longest time, but I can't anymore. It's pretty clear that they just don't care about the actual users.
No, and it's so odd, and I don't really, I mean, like you said, YouTube Red wasn't even success. I didn't look into the numbers myself, but they're just not, they're not profitable, or they're not,
they don't have to tell you anyway, because they're privately owned, so.
Right.
I don't think they ever put it out, but yeah, it just, I think Gerard from The Completionist.
The Completionist, yeah.
I was listening to one of his podcast things, I don't remember which one, but he was talking about his YouTube Red nightmare, where they brought him in to do a show, one of the new shows for the YouTube Red, and he kind of pitched what he wanted to do, and they hated it. But what he wanted to do was like a gaming related thing. Then they pitched him a bunch of shows, and he was like, none of these had anything to do with my fan base at all. Like what I do, my theme. He's like, just ridiculous. They just don't. They don't listen. They don't listen at all. And thank God for people like Ethan and PewDiePie and the ones that can stand up. Because imagine how bad this would all be, or how much worse this would be for all of us if they weren't there. Exactly,
right? Yeah, that's why I admire them too, and I'm glad that they're two of the top people, because yeah, like I don't know, like someone like LA Beast, right? Who he's kind of like a YouTube legend too. He's been around for God how long? Longer than you guys, or same time, or
I think we're about the same time, but I think we might be a little older.
Okay, yeah. Because man, you look at his early videos, he looks like a completely different person. But like he's a legend, and he's got clout, like you guys do. But I don't feel like if he talked about it, I feel like, I don't know, it wouldn't get nearly as much attention. Obviously based on the numbers alone, but also just, I don't know, PewDiePie and Ethan, they've ascended to like sort of legendary status,
You have to give it for Beast, though. I mean, he did single-handedly bring back Crystal Pepsi. So, I never thought he could actually get that done, and I drank some, last year because of him. So he does have a little bit of clout.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I'm just saying, like PewDiePie and Ethan, they're like a tier above. They're like top tier. So I'm glad that they do that.
Like, you would think that more top YouTubers would be openly complaining about it, considering once you're at the top, you're good. You're good for life. Like you could make enough money in a couple of years being on top of YouTube. You think more of them would come out and care about the platform enough to say something, but most of them just want to keep their mouths shut and just don't want anybody, stopping what they're doing, I guess, because they know that they'll always be in favor. So, PewDiePie and H3 don't even have to do that kind of stuff. Both are, I'm sure, financially set, but, they're good dudes and they're watching out for the platform they love.
Yeah, it also helps that YouTube, completely demonetized H3. I'm not sure about PewDiePie, but you know.
He's shown screenshots of it before. Like every single video is demonetized and confirmed or something like that. Yeah, a lot of them get hit.
That's so crazy. I like it. It feels like we're in a nightmare right now. And you know, basically what happens with my monetization is that I usually don't have any problems, but the thing is, you know, I schedule most of my videos because I'm just a very schedule-oriented person, and it's easier for me to, you know, like control when they're going to go up. I know some people like to do it, you know, live and like as soon as they finish rendering, they just upload it or whatever. But basically what happens is like all of mine get flagged, everything. Right now I'm doing like a series on Oblivion, and I'm doing a series on The Witcher 3. Every single one. Oh, even these podcasts, which do they have Morningstar as like a keyword because it's a weapon? I don't know. Like, why would it doesn't make sense. But like every single one gets flagged, and then because they're scheduled, I have enough time for them to be reviewed, and every single one is confirmed good. Like I can make money from them. But it's like, why would... Is there one guy in charge of watching all of my specific videos, you know, plus like a handful of other YouTubers? I don't know, but like, why wouldn't I be greenlit yet? They have literally approved every single one. Like, I don't understand it.
Because the system is not supposed to be catering towards individuals. It's supposed to take like every video and I guess be unbiased. But again, that's kind of like just assumed. They haven't said anything because again, they never talk about any of that stuff. But yeah, every one of our videos gets hit, every single one. Even when I'll put up, you know, like a quick video that's only up for the day where I do the Twitch promotion where I'm like, hey, we'll be on live tonight. Yeah. So 30 seconds, no cussing, nothing. Flagged every time, like every single time. And from what I have gotten, again, they don't confirm anything, but a lot of people believe that there are like channels that are basically shit canned. So like, if when they go through on your content and they, you know, the system flags some of your videos, there's a good chance that if you get a certain amount that you're basically your channel's name gets put into a special, you're going to get hit every video category. And that really is the case. And like you, a lot of our stuff gets confirmed as not, or as good to go. Like it can get the ads. But you know, we'll get maybe one out of every, I don't know, 30 or 40 videos that'll probably be confirmed, but it's just like, what a waste of time.
Exactly.
Yeah, especially now that they're hiring 10,000 more people to be the reviewers for when like your video gets, you know, flagged or whatever, and you can test it. But just, it's just, I don't know. I feel like I wish they would just come out and say that, hey, every single video is going to go through this, and we're going to try to focus on, you know, getting the review time down as fast as possible rather than they just say nothing.
Do you know anybody that's just like greenlisted? Because I feel like this is the way for most people.
Yeah, I mean, no, I mean, this was a big deal. They talked about this with the late night shows, especially Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, because they buy their own ads. YouTube says that they don't put them through the same system. But I'm going to tell you something right now. Like, you know for a fact that there's going to be some channels that they personally like, and there's no way in hell they put them through that system.
No, of course.
There's no way. And none of them are going to talk, though. That's the problem. You'll never be able to figure that out because why would they? YouTube's taking, you know, some extra measures of protection for them, but just a mess, man. It's changed a lot since when I first started. And ironically enough, when I first started, a lot of people were saying the same thing. So I just think it's a constant evolution for this company when really like, and they just strayed too far from what made them popular to begin with.
Do you think it's going to work out for them? Do you think...
It's Google. They have limitless money. I mean, like my buddy Jeff has a little more insight on this, but he was saying that like, you know, they could run this company this way and lose this kind of money for like the next 100 years and it wouldn't matter because Google just makes way too much.
Man, like
Google sees it as more of a platform, I guess, to get other things out, so they'll always keep YouTube around.
Right. Well, I'm sure people are like, the thing is, there's such a disconnect between YouTubers and YouTubers' audience. There's the people that we all want to be 100% of our audience that are just like, I completely understand in any way that I can support you guys, whether it be just a like on the video, you know, I'll do it. But there's just a disconnect. If you have never had an experience of being a YouTuber, however big or however small, like you just don't think it's as big of a deal as it is. But it's like, God, man, people always like to say that YouTube is so... How could you have YouTube as a job? It's so unstable, but it's not. I don't know about your numbers, and we obviously don't have to go into details, but the money that I make, you know, before this whole debacle started, it was solid. Like, it barely ever changed, and I have a pretty solid type of channel where I release the same sort of content. I don't really, you know, try different things, as bad as that sounds, but yeah, I stick to what I know, you know. So I don't know. It's always been solid, and now it's just like this is shaken up after like what you've been doing it for 7 years, and I've been doing it for 4 or 5. It's terrible.
Yeah. Well, so when things got bad for us way before everybody else, when the adpocalypse officially hit, for the prior 6 months, our numbers just died. Like all of a sudden, you know how you get to December it used to be the gravy train.
Right.
We would make probably 30% overall of what we make for the entire year just in December because the ad rates were so good. But the big problem was all of a sudden halfway through the month, it just died. Like when you looked at our money, it's like all of a sudden like 60% of it was just gone in a day. And I'm like, what the hell? Just like, I've never seen that before. So I assumed it was a problem.
Yep.
But it didn't go away. Like it kept, because every once in a while, the numbers can get weird. But like, it just kept staying low. And I'm like, what the hell is this supposed to? Everybody else is, I'm talking to all my buddies, Dude My Challenge and everybody and asking them what's going on. And they're like, oh no, we're fine. Like it's doing great like always. So what I kind of figured out through people that we know, they put some people on the newer algorithm as a test. So like, basically we didn't know that we were being affected by it, but they were marking all your videos as not ad friendly. So then when the adpocalypse hit, you were just clarified as to which ones were. But like for 6 months or so, there were certain channels that dinged them or they tested the system on, and you were making that adpocalypse money before anybody knew what adpocalypse was. So when the adpocalypse hit, it hurt because we went from, we say the first time in December, we dropped 60% or so of income. Then after the adpocalypse, we were making between like 80 to 90% less per day. And now we've kind of basically we're at like, I'd say 85 to 90% less every day as of talking now. So
Jesus.
those people that are saying that like, oh, the adpocalypse went away and now it's 2.0. It never went away. It's just getting stacked upon now.
No, absolutely not. No, yeah. I remember I have a very similar experience. Whenever Resident Evil 7 came out, I remember this first hitting. I feel like it was March or something. Like, do you know when it officially like started? Like everybody was kind of.
I put it out of my mind. I don't care.
But yeah, I just remember like hearing about it, and then I checked my analytics because I rarely check my analytics. Like I said, it's been stable. I do it like once a week, I guess, and I just remember it was down like 70%, and I was like, oh shit. Because I remember talking to my girlfriend, and I was like, yeah, apparently some people are hit, some people aren't. I'm pretty, advertiser friendly, I'd say, other than I guess some of the titles for the games or whatever. But I was like, it probably won't affect me that bad. And then I looked, and it was like, yeah, 60, 70% less. And I was like, oh shit, all right, well, I guess here's that day that everybody has been telling me, might come. And then slowly it's raised back up. But yeah, for people that don't know, usually it started like November and December are the gravy trains for most YouTube channels because, as Matt said, yeah, the ad rates are just higher. You just make more money basically. And this is the first year ever that's not happened. Like it's remaining the same right now for November and December. A little bit higher, but nothing like it was before. Yeah,
and I don't think that has to do with the advertisers pulling out. I think that just my guess on this whole algorithm change or this new system they're using, I think all it's doing is pushing all the money up into the top channels, like the ones that they like. And I think that the rest of us are just getting what a lot of gaming channels back in the day that are 100% gaming only traditionally would get bad ads from YouTube. And that was due to the length of the videos and the fact that so many people would stop watching sooner if it was a gaming video versus a regular video.
Right.
But I think now everybody, like 95% of YouTube, just gets these terrible ads and the terrible ad rates. And then they push the good premium content up to, like the select 5% that they like. That's what I think is going on. And I've seen some other people talk about it too, but there's no way to ever confirm it because, private company. So.
No, I think so too. I think you hit it dead on the head. Like, did you look at the YouTube rewind? I saw PewDiePie's video on it. I didn't actually watch it.
I'm so happy it fell in flames, man. Thank God. Send a fucking message to YouTube because they're just did that. I tried watching maybe 5 minutes of it or whatever. Like as much as I could stomach, it was just so overproduced.
Yeah.
Like kid-friendly garbage. It's like if I walked past a TV and I saw that playing and didn't know the context of it,
Disney Channel.
I'd hate it, and I'd be like, yeah, that is either Disney Channel or some sort of network I don't want to be associated with. And that's their freaking platform. Like, they want people to see that and go, oh, this is what makes it so good.
Yeah, they just want to be marketable. And the thing I was gonna say is, like, I don't know any of those people except for the Pauls, obviously, because they got so much attention. But I literally did not recognize like anybody other than like Philly
Same
D.
here.
And
he's only in it for like a second. It's like,
and what was the point of that scene? Because, like I said, I didn't watch it. I just saw PewDiePie's video on it. But he's digging a grave. Like, I just felt like it was symbolic, like he's digging his own grave, because YouTubers like him from that era were just all dead. You know?
So true.
What was the point of it? Why did they put him in a grave digging scene?
I don't know. I just, it's not that I don't know. It's probably that I just don't care. I'm just happy that it fell in fine. You know what's really hilarious is that, the YouTube execs put a lot of money into that thing, and then they see the reaction that it gets, and they're going to be like, well, all those people are wrong.
I don't know how people could be so clueless, because I don't know if you know anything about Bethesda and like Elder Scrolls and Fallout.
Yeah, I know they went through that situation with the modding, the paid mods and stuff.
The Creation Club. It's just like companies, I don't know how they could be so goddamn clueless. Like, they just need to hire somebody. Hire 5 people from within the in the thick of it, give them a job offer to come over and advise or whatever, and then this shit won't happen. I don't understand why this always happens with big companies. They just think like it's always that thing. Like, it's just a bunch of old white men like, this is what the kids like, or this is what the companies want to see. It's so baffling to me. I don't know.
Well, it's corporate mindset. It's one of the reasons why I was so happy to get out of working, like a traditional job when we started doing this, because I've been fired from a job specifically because a boss asked me a question and I answered it truthfully. Then
watch that video.
Got me. So it's like, I don't know, like this when we first started, this felt, I thought like you, I think it felt really secure, actually. Like, a lot of people telling me this wasn't a good way of making a living, but traditionally, we went pretty good until the bottom fell out. And even then, a lot of us are becoming resourceful, and we're going to use Patreon. We're going to do fan funding and donations and stuff to keep the channels running. I think it's very, very weird that there's a certain giant group of people that love YouTube, but yet get mad at people when they try to fan fund, when they've specifically, like, when they learned that your income died by 80 to 90% overnight. And they're like, well, don't take fan money. It's like, well, I mean, why? Like, because you're selling out. It's like, well, no, YouTube sold us out, and we had to try to find a way to keep our shows running.
There's always that disconnect. There's just a lack of empathy because people can't. Like I said, if you've just never been, not like we're special or anything. I'm just saying that, like, the mindset of a YouTuber, a lot of people just think, oh, you're just like your channel. Oh, you're just recording with your buddies. It's fun for you guys. There's no ounce of work in it whatsoever. There's no planning. There's no money that goes into buying all of these things that we're eating, on the channel for your entertainment. And there's always like an you shouldn't make money on YouTube, and people. But there's also the flip side, too, where people are just really, supportive, like the people that do fan funding for you guys, obviously. But I don't know. We could shift gears here because I'm sure people are probably tired about this. But the one thing I wanted to say before we shift gears is just that, if you guys are listening to this podcast right now, just remember, like, even just liking the video, like, YouTubers are going through such a hard time right now, and it's very, like, up in the air. And, we'll stick to it because we like what we do, or if we don't, we'll go find something else. But even just liking, you don't necessarily have to give us money, but if you want to, obviously that's going to help on Patreon or whatever. But even if you just like the videos, any way that you guys can support, like, YouTubers need the most right now. And I don't know when it's going to resolve itself or if it's going to resolve itself, but clearly they're looking to go towards that high production, like, smiling face Disney sort of idea.
Just dribble. Dribble.
But I wanted to ask you about the intros on your channel, because it's also another thing that's, like, super unique. Like, how did that get started? Like, does one person make them? The little, like, sort of, I don't know, animation type things.
Yeah. Our buddy Richard, I actually haven't talked to him in quite a while, but he is a really good dude, really nice fellow. Came out here one time, it was 2 years ago, to like film with us and hang out and stuff. But he was a fan of the channel, and he did animation professionally. And like I've seen how much he charged clients. So one time he jokingly added up like how much free work he did for us, and it was like we would have owed him like $65,000 or something. Ridiculous, but yeah, he was a fan of the show. He shot us a message and he was like, "Hey, I made a little thing for you," and I watched it and I was like, "I would love that to be an intro." And so there we go. We went from then, and I would always ask him for like something new if we needed or whatnot. But he actually doesn't really do animation that much anymore. He got like a real job, I guess, like not doing animations.
Yeah.
So he just does it for fun and on the side jobs and whatnot. But he's super talented.
Yeah, they're really like. That's one of the things that drew me to your channel back in the day, is just like watching those little things, because you have one for like almost every single show that you guys have, right?
Yeah, almost. The newer series that we've created, we haven't, because we haven't gotten him to do anything. I had a guy who was messaging me through email, and he kept saying that like he'd noticed we didn't have new animations, and he's like, "Well, I do that for a living." He's like, "I'll do one, and like maybe we can have a business relationship." And I'm open to that for sure. And so I finally, because at first he was quoting really high, so I was like, I don't know, but like that doesn't, like, I'm like, I could probably learn to do this, It's just like a. But we finally kind of settled on where he would be at. But I asked, I was like, before we do this, can you give me like a really quick example of one? And he never got back to me. All that talking, all that work, and that was it. I never paid him anything, but still, how? Yeah, it's hard to find a good one, man. I'm gonna tell you right now. I kind of just want to learn it myself.
Yeah. Do you know like the program that the other guy used?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I could just ask him to, and he'd give me a crash course through it.
Yeah.
But like, a lot of it's just me not wanting to focus efforts on it because I know that it would take a long time, but eventually it's got to get done. So I probably should just take it under my own power.
Yeah, I mean, if it's any consolation, I watched like a bunch of your new stuff, a bunch of your old stuff, probably more old stuff, because they like going through YouTubers like sort of history and just bouncing around, And I never noticed a lack of it. I thought they were like in most of them, and I was just like, oh, cool, that one. Oh, that one, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so you do a lot of challenges on Reckless Eating. Y'all do a lot of challenges. This is such a standard. Like a lot of these are going to be. I try to think outside the box when coming up with questions. But
I don't get interviewed all the time or anything. So
well, that's what. Well, with your channel, like the standard questions apply, and I'm actually interested in them. So what's the hardest challenge you guys have ever done?
My personal hardest one is my favorite one too. It's called the Hellfire Power Hour, and that was. There's a concept for those that don't know. It's the wine power hour, and it's one shot of wine every minute for 60 minutes. We have done 2 of them. I was the only one to survive the second time, and I survived the first time with 2 of the other guys. It's brutal, but that concept is turned on its head, and it's the same one of something every minute for 60 minutes, but instead we did dabs of extracts.
Oh, so like vanilla extract?
No, hot peppers.
Oh, okay.
Hot pepper extracts. And so it just got hotter and hotter as we kept going and going. And oh my God, it was so much fun, but my heart probably could have given out at any moment.
So you did 60 different
little dabs. Yeah, we didn't swallow. We didn't swallow them, but we did. I think one round was like 10 habanero peppers each or something like that. And then it moved on to the extracts and then like the extreme extracts. But one little dab or one bite of something hot every minute for 60 minutes. And
holy shit. Are the extracts like the most concentrated like part of the heat?
That's the hot, basically that's used for, here's an example. 1 bottle of certain extracts, depends on the heat level, but if you're making a big pot of chili, you put 1 drop of the extract.
Oh my God. Okay.
Really, really hot.
Okay. So do you like spicy food outside of challenges?
I do. I can't go like super, super, super spicy because it stirs up some pain. They call them capsaicin pains, but I just can't get too hot. But yeah, whenever I go out, I get wings at Wingstop or Buffalo Wild Wings are the places out here. I'll always get the hot version. Why not?
At Buffalo Wild Wings, do you go to like the hottest? Because
I do not. I'll go the step below that because I have to be able to enjoy it. I like the flavor of the hot ones, but I'm not there to die.
I have the same exact mentality because I think at least last time I've been there, the second the second highest one is mango habanero. Right?
And that's a good one. That's really delicious.
That's really good. Yeah, but I remember like I went there with my friend when I first moved up here to Colorado, and on the wall of Buffalo Wild Wings, I don't know if this is the same for everyone, but it said like, "Can you handle the heat?" or something like that in like big letters, and we both got mango habanero, and I loved them. But like he couldn't eat them after the first one, and I was just like, "Hey, take a look at that wall, buddy. You cannot handle the heat."
Yeah, and that's not even. Have you tried the hot one that they got?
What's it called? Like Blazing or something?
Blazing Wings, I think. We've done the challenge once, and it's tough. It's not easy. Yeah, it's doable though. Because the big places out here that are wings are Wingnuts, then Buffalo Wild Wings, and then Wingstop. Well, I think Wingstop has the hottest of all of the casual fast food wings with their atomic. Their atomic wings are like unbearably hot.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
A problem I have with a lot of places, and I'm sure you have it too, is just like when something, especially like the fast food joints, when it calls something hot, it's not actually hot, you know?
And that makes me so mad. Like if you call your thing, the worst offender was not Wendy's. Well, Wendy's did it too, but at least theirs had a little bit.
Yeah.
It was Popeyes had ghost pepper, like something.
Yeah.
And it like it was the jelly. And it had like no heat or pepper flavor or anything. I was like, what does this have to do with that?
That whole ghost pepper craze, like when that first hit, like every fast food was doing it, and yeah, none of them. I remember thinking to myself, like, how could they actually, you know, put a decent amount of ghost pepper in there? Because at the time it was the hottest. Now is it still the Reaper?
It's about to be apparently changed soon. I guess they're waiting on the Guinness World Records. Yeah, there's Pepper X came out, and Pepper X is probably going to be the new hottest one.
Okay. Huh. Yeah, but like all the fast food places were you know saying the ghost pepper stuff, and yeah, none of it was hot. It's so disappointing. I will say though, Burger King, like they released their spicy chicken nuggets, and there's a nice level of spice to it. You know?
I was gonna say the thing that did the heat level probably the craziest that was a surprise to me was when McDonald's had that. So like ghost pepper burger or something, whatever they did some sort of really hot burger. And it was like, oh, maybe it was habanero, but it was legitimately hot. And I was always really surprised about that.
Really? McDonald's?
McDonald's of all places, the worst fast food chain on the planet. And somehow they got the heat level right.
Is McDonald's actually your least favorite fast food place?
I hate everything about McDonald's. Yeah. And I used to love their nuggets. That was like the one holdout. But I got food poisoning on them one night. So now I'm just okay with nuggets, but I don't love them or crave them anymore.
Oh man, the worst food poisoning I've had in like 2 years was when I first moved to Colorado, and I went to a McDonald's down the street, and I was like in bed the whole day, and I felt like pure death.
That's Old Man Tom, one of my buddies on Reckless Eating, has probably my favorite story ever. He got food poisoning, and I guess he like filled up their toilet. So the wife was like, she's like, you need to go to the hospital now. And she forced him. So he grabbed like a tiny little, all he had was on their way out was like in the car was like a tiny little paper bag. And it was a Taco Bell bag. That's what it was. And he filled up a Taco Bell bag with his vomit. It's like how I want to see that visual. That would be so gross.
Oh man. Okay, so like obviously you guys have a high tolerance, right, for gross stuff. A lot of your videos have vomit alert.
Yeah,
yeah, I consider myself to have a pretty good iron stomach. Is there anything that actually makes you guys? Well, obviously there is because you've got vomit alerts in your titles. But is there one specific thing? Is there a thing that will always do it?
Yeah, each guy has like certain things he's bad with. Chuck Rowland on the show is really bad with textures. So if you give him something mucusy, he will throw up.
Okay.
Chris has a few things that he doesn't like peppers can make him throw up if he actually does them, which he usually doesn't.
Just because he doesn't like the taste?
He doesn't know heat. He's extremely heat sensitive, so it hurts him more than it would hurt you or me. Like it's just some sort of thing. My the thing that can still get me to throw up is textures sometimes can get me, but like Chris knows how to trigger me. Chris will like play with his mucus in front of me. That'll get me every freaking time. Surprisingly, though, before we started the show, I hated throwing up. I would do everything in my power not to throw up because I just absolutely dreaded the feeling of it.
Yeah.
Now I don't care anymore. I don't care in the slide. I'm not afraid. If I need to take like one day my stomach's upset, like I'll just go to the toilet and take care of business. Like, you just gotta do. Now you feel better. Cool.
Man, yeah, I have a pretty solid iron stomach. One thing I cannot take at all is anything fish related whatsoever.
Yeah, I can see. I mean, that's, you know, we do fish paste, fish sauce, and it's not good. It's not good at all. No, I'm not big on most of the things that come out of the sea except for shrimp. That's about it. Shrimp is like basically my go-to seafood.
I literally do not eat anything that comes out of the sea whatsoever. And
there you go.
Nope. And whenever I watch y'all's main show, and for those of you that don't know that are listening, yeah, Reckless Eating has a main show where I guess the idea is mainly just to try the weirdest type of shit that you possibly can find, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and I'm always like, man, I'd totally be able to do some of that, at least a decent amount, except when there's like inevitably always a fish item, and it always just makes me want to gag because it just sounds like the grossest crap ever. But you guys are, I mean, seriously, it's your job, obviously, so you have to be good at it, but you guys down some pretty awful stuff without batting an eye.
Oh, I mean, you know what's ironic about that is I make 95% of the money, so the rest of them pretty much are doing it for free. Yeah, I mean, like, I think it's kind of interesting. You can tell that me and Chris have kind of switched, because at the start of the series, he was always the one that would eat the grossest stuff with no hesitation, and then I was the big pansy. Well, since we've gotten 7 years down the road, it's flipped a little bit. Like, he's a little bit more of a diva to certain items, and I'll just go for it. Granted, he'll still do some pretty gross things, but I just think that that's really cool to see how we've come through the 7 years and whatnot.
Yeah, is that part of his background? Because I noticed I was watching some videos and stuff that just everybody else was like, "Oh God, hell no, that's awful," and y'all spit it out immediately. He won't even give a shit. He'll just eat like the whole thing and then call it good. I forget, there was like specifically one thing, and it was the grossest thing ever to me. But like he actually like liked it and was eating like a lot of it.
Yeah, that was his gimmick in our group. Is that he wouldn't do like gross stuff, but one example is we're out doing like desert stuff, like dirt biking and whatnot. And whenever everybody would have lunch, he would like construct his own weird sandwich and just put things in it that you're like, why are you doing that? And then he'd also combine all of his, like if he had a bag of chips, the chips would have to go into the sandwich. So he was already like somebody that would either combine or try like odd stuff. So that's why he was a perfect fit, really.
Yeah. Okay. One question I have is like, is the durian really as bad as everybody on the internet says it is?
Like when we tried it like what 6 years ago, 6.5 years ago, it was pretty awful. But nice, hard, seasoned veteran Matt. It's not the taste that's so bad anymore.
The smell, right?
It's usually the texture to me.
Oh, okay.
Because it kind of reminds me of mucus. Like if you start breaking it down in your mouth, and that'll get me more than anything. If it's like a candy durian, it still sucks. Like the best way to describe it is, walk up to an emptied dumpster that's been there for years and like smell it, and that's pretty much the smell and taste. Some people disagree on the taste. Some people say that it only smells bad, but it actually tastes pretty good. I just think it's garbage.
That's what I've always wondered, because like I'm a huge fan of tropical fruit, and it is a tropical fruit, right? So
it is just it should have no association with tropical.
Okay. No. Well, shoot. I mean, we're already like near the end here. There was like a ton of other stuff that we didn't get to. I saw your review on your second channel, Zion Mainframe Gaming. For those of you that don't know, Matt's also got a gaming channel where I'd say it's mostly let's play content, stream, highlights, and things.
It's just Twitch, yeah. The gaming channel took a back seat once Twitch became a focus. That was the end of it. Okay.
But yeah, what type of games do you usually play on your Twitch channel then?
I mean, I'm a huge Isaac fan, so
me too.
Pretty much, it's probably I like it's moved up in terms of my favorite top 10. It was number 3 for a while, but it's finally passed up my love of World of Warcraft, and it's number 2. So Isaac is like my baby. And you know what's crazy is I've never really played any of the mods before that are out there since they opened that up.
Right.
And so today, while we started the recording of this, I was just downloading a bunch of new characters and stuff. So I think I'm going to be playing a lot more coming up as well. I really like a game called Death State. I did want to shout that game out because I'm telling you, that game is it's basically Isaac, but it's an on-rails, or not on-rails, but what do you call it when you're shooting at something the entire time and you don't control the shooting?
We don't control the shooting, or you don't control the moving.
It's whatever enemy's closest to you is who you shoot.
Yeah, that's on. You talking about like the classic arcade style games with the guns? Like
I don't know. It doesn't really matter. We're going
on rails. I think
good.
is right. Yeah.
That state's good. And then I've also been playing. My buddy is a developer. He had a game called Sweezy Gunner, and it was a really fun cheap game that was on Steam. And so I followed him after that. And he made a game recently called Dreamstones,
right? Which
is fantastic. And I talked to him about it. It didn't sell particularly well because they buried his game like within a day, 6 pages back. So he hasn't really gotten a lot of steam with it. But Dreamstones, if you like, just destroying blocks as you move a thing back and forth, but with a lot more, kind of like I compare it to a game called, have you ever heard of Wizorb before?
No.
Another good one. It's very similar idea, but it's basically like an RPG. Breaking, break, what do they call it? Break free, break away, whatever.
I forgot what the original Breakout, I think.
Yeah. Breakout, there you go. But Dreamstones is the other one that I've been playing. It's super like in depth. I didn't think it was gonna go that far in, but that and I've also recently started. I got to keep up with it, but I'm doing basically like calling commentary over wrestling simulated matches for WWE 2K18.
Okay. Yeah, I remember you brought up we did a PlayerUnknown's Battleground stream together, and you brought up Dreamstones, and I looked at it, and yeah, the graphics look amazing because you said it was all hand drawn, right, or something?
Yeah, he did. I mean, I think one of the reasons why I like it even more is because I follow him on Twitch, and it's his job. So for 6 hours a day or whatever it is, and it's the opposite time zone, so it's hard to catch him. When I do, it's fun to watch him. Like I watched him draw this game from scratch.
Yeah,
where
that's awesome.
There was nothing, and then all of a sudden he started going, and like to finally play the game was kind of surreal a little bit. But it's just super nice dude too. Overall, he's come into my streams before and hung out and whatnot. It's just a good dude.
Yeah, if you guys are interested, definitely check it out. It's called Dreamstones, right?
Yes, all one word.
Yeah, and just look at the images because I remember being surprised. I was like, wow, these are really nice. I guess the final thing I want to ask you about is I know that we have each other on Steam, and I remember I think we were doing PUBG or maybe it was something else, but I told you about getting over it, and I saw that you were playing it. So what do you think?
I was so bad at it, man. I made it over the first little initial like area, like the very first thing you do, right?
The tree, the dead tree.
And then I never got up the mountain. I made it all the way up past, there was like a pipe you had to get over, and then there was like 3 little like
ledges, like rock.
Yeah, ledges. There you go. I could not get past them. Those ledges. I was Heath Ledger, so I didn't. That was it. I couldn't do it. I played for 2 hours and I could not make it past that part.
You flat out gave up, huh?
Well, that was the end of the stream.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't really care past that. We had somebody give us the game. I did want to try it, but it's just not for me. I think that's a game that's more fun to watch somebody fail than it is to watch them complete. Anyway.
Also, if you're going to play it, you kind of have to be a little bit of a masochist,
Yeah, well, I mean, I just tapped out. The next day I was like, maybe I'll go back. I was like, no, you really want to have that feeling all over again? No, thank you.
I'm currently going for the 50 wins. You have to beat it 50 times on Steam, and I'm pretty close.
How long is one run for like a standard person?
So the first run took me 13 hours, which is kind of like on the long end, I think, for your first run. But I streamed all of it, and some of it was on a drunk stream, so I feel like, I get some leeway. And then the next one, I think I got it down to an hour, and then I've literally become like my shortest time is 8 minutes. So it's just practice makes perfect. Yeah, that game, my stream, and I've literally, I think, mentioned it on every single podcast so far. That game has taken me over, and as soon as I must be within the 40s, I think I got less than 10 wins to go, but I'm done with it after that. And the game brings me no joy anymore. It's just trying to get that achievement.
Was it the same? It's the same people that made QWOP back in the day, right?
Yeah, Bennett Foddy. Yeah, he developed QWOP.
Yeah, I mean, dude, he used a little bit of his name recognition, and he got this game doesn't even look. It looks like it was a store-bought community. What do they call it?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody just went in. Yeah, just went in there and bought a bunch of assets. There you go. Yeah, and put it together, and yet that's kind of its charm. And
that's the point.
I'm gonna tell you, I know that I'm just bad at it. I'm not. When I got mad at the game, I wasn't getting mad at the game because it was being unfair.
Right.
I just was bad. It's one of those games that when you get good at it, then you kind of earn it because it takes a long time to get good.
Like Dark Souls, but there are definitely there's definitely unfair parts in that though, because you were close to the first major stopping point. I remember I just watched a commentary with him, and he said that like I think 30 or 40% of people don't even get past this point. And you were right. You were right at it pretty much. It's called the Devil's Chimney, and basically, it's just like a shaft that kind of looks like a chimney, and it's got 2 lights. And the whole thing is that it's very hard to hook the light and then sort of pull yourself up because it's very narrow. And like 40 or 60% of people just don't even get past that part. So like that part's not even like fair.
So what you're trying to say is I gave up on the pussy part. And so Matt, if you were thinking about going back and playing that, don't do it. And I'd say thank you.
Hey man, if you can bring yourself to get past that part, you will have been better than whatever amount of people that quit.
That's a big fat no. Thanks.
Alrighty, well. Yeah, that was a pretty awesome podcast. Go ahead and tell the people where they can find you, what you got going on, anything that you want to promote.
Yeah, as always, we have Reckless Eating on YouTube. All of my personal social media is Matt Zion We, so MattZionWE as in Reckless Eating, or just Reckless Eating itself. So yeah, like I said, we do Twitch as well. You and I have done one. We need to do another one soon.
Hell yeah.
But we play together once in a while, and you can find me over on Reckless Eating on Twitch as well. Every Tuesday is when I do my shows.
There you go. Well, thank you so much for coming on Morningstar. Thank you all for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.